tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to another after show for the Real Housewives of Orange County, episode 15, Fire Signs.
Ooh, got a fire song.
I'm your host, Grant Rutter, ready for another full episode of Real Housewives of Orange County with a panel. My friend, AfterBuzz co-host, Fred Renee is here filling in.
So happy to be here.
Nice to have you. And Blake.
Yes, I'm holding it down. We've got two parts of the standard.
Crew.
That's right, the regular crew on Blake V. How's everyone doing? And Alexis is just rocking out.
She's
Heck
loving
in the
this.
booth back there. She got our music going for us. It's like party up in here.
Alexis is having more fun in the booth than they did on the episode of this party. There was supposed to be a party. And it quickly turned kind of sour, but...
Is that really any surprise?
No.
I mean, I feel like these ladies, the parties never really are that fun, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So... There's that.
Before we get into this party, and there's a lot to say, let's talk about the dinner. That was at this beautiful restaurant. What was the name of it?
Right?
Yes, they went and ate at Splashes.
Splashes.
Yes. Splashes is in the Surf and Sand Resort in Laguna Beach.
You know, Splashes could either be a very high-end place, or it could be like a cheap little,
cheesy.
taco
Like the
bar.
dive bar
yeah.
down the street. Splashes.
I'm kind of I don't know. But, those ladies had of course, being on television,
quite lovely.
prime seat.
It looked nice.
Unbelievable. And did you see all the lovely wine they had? All the champs and everything in the case. Just very nautical and beautiful. Anyway, it was nice to see Shannon get along so well with the other two ladies after all this time. She's sitting there tipping back a glass of wine with Meghan and Heather. It was good.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was shocking, wasn't it?
Shocking.
Yeah. I feel like this is the first time we've seen really Meghan and Shannon be this close and not wanting to rip each other's hair out.
Yeah.
And you think of last year with Heather and Shannon. Like, these were her two people that she fought with. And I guess anything can happen.
Heather
Housewives.
especially.
Right?
Yeah.
We saw it in the flesh
yeah.
tonight.
So immediately they get into this whole thing about the cancer storyline, which is like, it is what it is. At this point, I'm still really kind of like, it doesn't sit well with me if this is not real. But for the purpose of the show, we'll move forward with that. So Meghan let the other ladies know that she called up Brooks's doctor and said, I have cancer.
Oh, my God.
Straight up. And so she called the doctor, and the doctor said, we don't do cancer here. It sounds like you're going to need to contact an oncologist. So pump the brakes. Immediately, it's like, So there's, we need to keep, a little tally of, questions about this, what's the word I'm thinking of? Where things don't add up, things are a little off. It's like, okay, well, there's mark number 1. Well, okay, he doesn't do that. And, basically, we're already learning more that she's, pushing the envelope, trying to get to the bottom of this. Now, people at the table were a little surprised by this, and I thought it was a little crazy myself. What did you think?
Crazy town. I was like, is she for real? I think she has too much time on her hands.
Yeah.
And just too much time on her hands and nothing to do. And a little bit of a vendetta here. She just wants to prove that he doesn't have cancer. Okay. Let it go.
Yeah.
Get
At
a
this
job.
point, I mean, we already saw last episode, I think, where we all kind of exhausted it. And I think here on the after show, we said, Nobody wants you looking into this. Everybody has said, get away, don't look into it, we're over it. She's not helping anybody at this point by like delving so deeply. And I completely agree with you. Total crazy town at this point. It's very interesting to learn that the doctor who's been treating Brooks does not treat cancer, apparently. But even crazier to know the length she went to find that out. Right?
And I'm like a big believer in not putting certain things into the universe, so I would never utter those words that she said when she called him.
I know. I didn't want to say it on the show, but I'm saying it with quotes because this is not. But yes, I mean, come on. I don't even want to. I know. I thought about rewording it a different way, but I'm covering the show and like, it's just not my thing. But she's literally made it her job to get to the bottom of this. Like you said, no one's asking her to do this.
Right.
And it is a situation where she really needs something else to do. But it makes her interesting TV nonetheless. We also learned that Dr. Keneally, who Shannon recommended, went out of her way to connect the two. Of course, City of Hope, fantastic hospital. They do great work. So this is lymphoma doctors traveled the world, and Brooks had the opportunity to meet with this doctor. What a fantastic opportunity! This person probably has a waiting list of people who are desperate to see him.
I'm sure months long.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brooks couldn't make it because he had quote 2 flat tires.
Call Uber.
Yeah. And regardless, like, who gets 2 flat tires? When have you ever had 2 flat tires?
How does that even happen? Unless if you literally just drive over like
glass,
like a construction site.
Exactly. Or like, do not reverse when you've pulled out of a thing. Totally. Like that just does. I mean,
it makes no sense.
No, like that's not even coincidental. That's not even timing. That's just like.
And even if he had 4 flat tires, you're on your way to see someone who could cure you. Leave your car and call Uber if you really want to.
We really don't need the excuses.
It just makes no sense. So there goes another check in the
on the tally board.
Right. 2 flat tires. And now, I went to school in Orange County. You grew up in Orange County. Pretty good roads down there, I'd say. Better than LA, so
fairly good. Yeah, fairly good. Not likely you'd get 2 flat tires.
Yeah, it's not like a common occurrence even in the OC. So I just I thought it was a nice kind of dinner overall. They were all getting along, and the seed of doubt is planted at the top of the episode right away.
Of course, as they like to do.
Yes,
set these episodes up right. By the way, hi Michael Horn. We've got Michael in on our chat room. How's it going?
Our trusty Michael Horn is here. Let's transition to Sandy's date. Tamra's mother is going out with this man. And I won't speak ill of the elderly, but he definitely looked a little old.
Well, compared to her, she looked amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Tamra said she was 60-ish, and she looked amazing. And her outfit, Tamra was making such a deal about her outfit. Her outfit was adorable. She looked great in it.
It was age appropriate, I
Completely.
thought. Yeah. I mean, how awkward is a blind first date, and then you've got a camera crew, you've got someone on the floor typing, you've got a story producer, you've got someone holding a boom, and you're on a first date.
And then the family's there.
Yeah, with your child and your grandson.
Your grandson is there. So I don't know many people of a certain age that would be able to put up with that. They'd be like, this is bullshit. Like, they'd be like, this is not happening. Like, I'm going on my own. I give them credit that they just rolled with it.
Props to Marty.
Props to Marty.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Marty and Sandy.
Yeah, Marty was an interesting one, but she's getting back on the market. Everyone's got to have a first one, I guess, back on the town.
How did they meet? Did they say how they met? I'm curious.
Matchmaker.
Tamra set him up with a matchmaker.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No kissing on the first date.
No making out on the first date.
Sandy was disappointed.
And I didn't like something that Marty said though.
Ooh.
I just want to throw this out there.
That was a red flag.
There was a big red flag.
Oh, yeah.
I would have hightailed it right on out of there if I were Sandy. But just saying. She asked him if he had any children, and he said, "Oh no children. I'm the kid."
Ooh, yeah.
Nope. No.
Marty can change his own diapers.
Oh my God. Older men really do look for someone to take care of them.
Yeah.
It's true. And he's no different. Yeah, that's a deal breaker.
No, completely. Sandy seems like a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
She doesn't need anyone slowing her down. She doesn't need to take care of anyone.
I like that Tamra said she spends the day watching reality TV. I kind of had, I liked her to begin with. I was like, okay, I like her. She must DVR herself, too.
OC Housewives on repeat all day long.
Yeah. She must love having her daughter on a reality show. That must be like
We gotta get
big
Sandy
deal
to
for her.
call into AFTERBUZZ.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I'd love to get her perspective on a few things, including Ryan, her grandson. You know, Ryan has kind of had a tough life. Now, some people may not agree because, you know, he's got his mother footing the bill for this new place, and his mother's always been in his corner financially, and he's been given many opportunities. But, you know, we kind of all commented during the show that, you know, he hasn't had the most simple OC life.
No, to say the least. I mean, I feel like he has certainly acted out. He's had his moments. We've all been like, oh, Ryan, you know, over a lot of things he's done. But I feel like he really has had a tough time. I feel like he's had a tough upbringing. And you just think of his, you know, his home situation has like always been changing. He's always had different stepdads and different people in his life trying to tell him what to do. And I feel like that's really difficult. It's difficult enough when it's your own dad.
Exactly. And that flashback of Simon handing him that paper, like, this isn't, you're going to grow up.
The
It's just
agreement.
like, it's like he's never really had like a loving, I don't know, you just see snippets, but still, it's like he's had it pretty hard. People be riding him hard on him.
Right,
Yeah.
financially and with agreements, and you know, I feel like he was a teenager when that happened too. Not quite sure, but I'm sure like maybe 17ish, maybe 18, and that was Simon's way of like, hey, you're an adult now or whatever. But I know, just not very loving. It seems like it's always been very, very cold with the fatherly, with the kind of fatherly relationships.
Yeah. So we got the feeling that this wedding is off. That's what was said, right? So Tamra said, like, you're going through a lot, like calling off the weddings. But only a few weeks ago, they were looking at Vicky's backyard. So I'm curious where things stand at this point in the taping of the series.
Yes. You know, it's really interesting when they hit us with news like this because like Tamra said it, but we were all like, what?
Huh?
It was called off. So we learned this information tonight for the first time. And that's so true. The last time we saw them together, everything was lovely. Vicky's backyard was lovely. Like plans were on. And then tonight it's like, oh, okay, there's trouble in paradise.
Mm-hmm. And
Indeed there is.
we learned even more about what they're going through and Ryan really not interested at all in this wedding. And Tamra immediately says, you know, go to a marriage counselor or go to church. I say, look, if you're not even interested at this point, and you know the child is here, you've been engaged, like, don't do it. It's just not gonna happen. If it's not, it's just not gonna happen.
I completely agree. If
Run.
you're unsure, okay, you have a child together, you've gotten this far, just be a good dad, but don't create a terrible marriage. If you're unsure at this point, do not get married.
Completely, yeah. I mean, I think Tamra said it best. She said, when I hit rock bottom, the church helped me. But I don't think Ryan's at rock bottom. I think he's just in a scenario where he's not fully invested.
Right. And not to be judgmental, but this scenario, oh, you met a girl on Instagram. You're going to have a child with her. She already has 3 daughters. You're going to move here. Mm-hmm. I think that's a recipe for unhappiness.
Completely. And poor Ryan was like, it's really hard dealing with 4 women's different personalities. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, no kidding it is.
Right?
Yeah.
For any new people in your life's personalities would be hard to deal with. And here he is, you know, taking all this on and, no wonder.
The poor kid, he must be so stressed.
I know. I can't even imagine.
But, you know, for people watching, if you meet a girl on Instagram who has 3 daughters, take it slow. Just take it slow. She might be a
That's
great
right.
girl.
Take it slow.
She
That's
might be
all.
awesome.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just on the other side of the coin, though, I feel like, you know, he is an adult man. He does have a child. Like, he should really, you know, be providing for them, but just don't get married. But I think he, you know, needs to kind of not feel so bad and feel so like the relationship is over, because it probably is. So, you know, just do what you're going to do to salvage what you have and build that relationship before worrying about all that stuff. Like, don't even think about the wedding. And that's what we're all saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. We have a couple comments from Michael that I'd like to share. Okay, first of all, so he says that he has been supportive of Meghan for the majority of the season, which I think we all kind of had. Yeah. She's had some good points along the way, but he definitely thinks that she's gone too far contacting Brooks's ex-girlfriend and the doctor and everybody else that she's contacted, which I think we all agree with. That is like way too far. Also, the Real Housewives Awards happened on Watch What Happened Live tonight, and Shannon won Best Newbie.
Really?
Right?
People really like her. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And let's see, what else did he say? And Tamra and Vicky won realist reconciliation. But
Nice
we'll
to
see. They had,
OC
I know.
get some love.
It
Good.
was a little rocky tonight on tonight's episode, so we'll have to see how that works
might,
out.
Yeah, that might be
but-
nominated next year for the same damn thing.
yeah.
The way this show keeps going with those two.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to watch those awards. I had to take a break from Watch What Happens Live. It just got too repetitive for me, and I think Andy's been out to lunch a little too much, so I'll have to catch
Andy,
up.
you got to tighten up your game.
Yeah.
Get Grant back on board.
Yeah, I don't know, I still love the show, but I got to get back into it. I needed a break. I needed a break,
enough.
to say the
Fair
very
enough.
least. Well, let's transition to our cheers and jeers segment of the show. Highlights and lowlights. Little things that we've seen along the way that really kind of struck a chord. I'll go first with my cheers. My cheers goes to the intimate party at Shannon Bedore's house. The decor was nice. It was simple yet elegant, and it seemed pretty intimate to me. I really liked it, and I would definitely like to have one of those Aries teenies.
Oh, yes. They look
It looks
delish.
delicious.
Anything is good out of a martini glass. And not anything, but it looks good, yes. And, I'm going to transition to my jeers, and my jeers goes to Meghan's kind of overall commentary about Hailey's 200-person party. Didn't seem like she was that angry or really upset about it. It seems like she wanted to come across as stern, but just the way she talked about it just didn't seem like a big deal. And I know that's not her daughter, and really there's only so much she can do, but it was just kind of like a fluff up. I'm like, Hailey, like, what are you doing? Like, it was just, wasn't happy with that. No.
Boo for that, for sure.
Speaking of that, I was like, did that really happen? It seemed like it was almost like a setup, like she's the struggling stepmom, so there was a story that she threw a wild party. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Could've
it's
been.
real. Where are the pictures?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it could be fake. You
That's
never
my
know.
jeers. And then my cheers goes to Tamra's mother's zebra top that she
Oh,
wore
it was
on her date.
lovely.
It was adorable.
It was very adorable. Okay, so my cheers is I believe this was at Shannon's party. This was Heather's fabulous ear decor.
It was, yes.
She had like the most beautiful, like, I don't even know what it was, like ear jewels, and they were lovely, and I wanted some.
I wonder if they're like the ones on the top of the ear are clip-ons.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, how can you have all that like pierced?
I imagine it was some sort of like cuff or something, but
Yeah.
it's
They
matched,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
I loved it. I want to get one for me.
Stylish. I
Right.
agree. Yes.
Cheers for Heather. And then and then my jeers is just on Meghan this episode. I just cannot even comprehend her going so far out of her way to reach out so far into Brooks's past. At this point, I've just got to ask, why? Why do we even care anymore? Like, even if he has cancer, even if it's the worst thing in the world, yes, it's terrible. But if he doesn't care, then why is it Meghan's responsibility?
Completely.
I cannot understand it. Boo for
Yes.
She has so much time in her hands. She should be researching
working.
cancer cures.
Right. I think
Raising
Going to
money.
medical school.
Becoming an oncologist.
Fern, I think you had a good point. I think she just has way too much time on her hands to do any. Like, she needs to
Yeah.
find something to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happens with a lot of people. I think, like, in life, I think that a lot of problems come up from people who just don't have enough going
no,
on.
I completely agree.
God.
And I
think
gotta
that
say,
comes down to it.
yeah, I completely agree. And I gotta say, there is a whole bunch of stuff I'd be digging into and researching if I didn't have to work my whole entire life. So,
Yeah.
so it's best I do work. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this Aries party. I was really impressed with how it looked. I thought it looked nice.
yeah.
And
Gorgeous.
it was well done.
Shannon
Even-
has a gorgeous house, beautiful
Yeah.
pool.
Beautiful.
nice bathroom.
Yes, the marble.
Loved that
Grant
bathroom.
loved the marble.
I love that bathroom. That's like my dream bathroom. It's so nice.
It's
so good.
very fabulous.
So we got to this party, and the ex-girlfriend is brought up immediately, pretty much. Meghan's pretty proud of the fact that she reached out to the ex. Like, she's like gonna brag about Lizzie was like, oh, shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, it's kind of funny to see like her get excited about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of recently expressed our feelings about her reaching out to the girlfriend, and just to drill down deep, it was a blog that somebody else posted that this girlfriend allegedly posted on, saying that he had faked cancer way in the past. Mm-hmm. And this was someone that was linked to Meghan's friend that she went to school with in Mississippi. So how young was this girlfriend? If she's friends with someone that's 30 years old and they went to college together.
Maybe it's a small town in Mississippi and the woman's in her 50s and she's
Yeah,
friends with the
I'm hoping for that scenario.
I'm wondering though, like, it's never that easy to get your hands on someone's personal phone number. Maybe an email, maybe a Twitter handle.
Well, and an interesting aspect to this is that I think it was Meghan who said it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was it was actually Brooks who specified this in their conversation, where he said that this particular woman was really angry and posted all this because at the time he chose Vicky over her. So this could only have been a couple years ago,
right?
Because they've only been together a couple years.
Yeah.
So if this happened a couple years ago, then that's really interesting because it wasn't like 20 years ago or something,
right?
You know.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Jim's initial reaction in the bathroom at their house? There wasn't much to react to be honest.
Kind of like you predicted. Like he was like,
yeah.
He was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
He's like, don't do it. Just don't do it again.
Yeah.
And that goes in one ear and out the other. There's something you can tell her.
Right. I mean, I kind of liked his response because, he didn't get upset or anything. I feel like maybe like the girlfriend or the wife in this situation, like I would have gotten upset or concerned. Like if my boyfriend or husband was like rooting into this information, I would be like, are you insane?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you? Stop that. Like whatever. And he was just like, okay, don't do it. Cool. Yeah. Like if we can end it at that, I like it.
It's not going to stop her.
I just think he's so disinterested.
He literally can't.
Yeah. That's probably the root of it all.
Mm-hmm. So what else can we say here before we get into the thick of things? Well, let's just do it. Brooks called Meghan over. They're going to have a couples conversation. They went inside, and it just kind of went off from there. Brooks was like on a mission though in this episode. He really was like, it was almost like the Brooks episode, I felt, because he was the one that was really kind of initiating things. He went right up to her. He didn't waste any time, and he didn't really get angry with her the way we've seen Vicky get angry with her, which I thought was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Vicky though, in this episode, I'm telling you, I'm a huge Vicky fan, but her behavior the last few weeks and even this one is like borderline bitchy. I know she's defending him, but she's very,
I think she
rough.
held it together. Like we're so used to her screeching.
Yes.
I was like, wow, she really behaved herself.
I totally thought so too. I was like,
I thought she was shady. I found her to be shady.
Yeah.
And I can understand why. Because Meghan really is ridiculous to be doing what she's doing, but yeah.
If she ever had an opportunity to screech and like really like strangle someone, it would be now. And
at
she
the
didn't.
party. Yeah, no, I gotta say that I think she did kind of keep it contained, maybe because Brooks was there.
Yeah,
I'm not
maybe
quite
she
sure.
was on her best behavior.
Yeah, but I mean, really, because we saw her last behavior when she was with Brooks at the birthday dinner, at Brooks' birthday dinner. She lost her mind, and she could have very well done the same, and she didn't this time.
Brooks was making really good points.
Yeah.
Like, what's your motivation?
Right.
And she really didn't have an answer.
Yeah.
I agree.
And one thing I don't get about Meghan, when they were talking, outside and at the party, she was kind of bragging about contacting the ex-girlfriend. What did the ex-girlfriend say? Obviously, she's still friendly with Brooks if she contacted Brooks and let him know. Obviously, she didn't say point blank, yes, he faked, or she would have said that. So don't brag about it unless you got the answer you want.
Yeah. Truly.
But
truly, it makes no sense otherwise.
Say?
Yeah.
She obviously must have said something like, you're crazy, and then went back to Brooks.
Brooks even referenced that he received the whole thread.
Yes.
So that meant that there had to be more than one message, reciprocated
right.
there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Someone at this party who did hold it together was Shannon, and I was surprised because there was a shot of her when Brooks and Vicky were walking in. She had to walk around the pool she had to do a lap. She had to walk it off. She was really anxious. I was ready for her. This is her own house. She can do whatever the hell she wants. So I thought she was just gonna boil over.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, or someone was gonna get tossed in the pool. I don't know, something. The part that killed me was as soon as Vicky walked in, because her and Vicky at this point are best friends, right? Vicky walked in and she's like, do I need to get you a drink? She couldn't even look at her.
No, she couldn't look at her.
I'm like, this is your best friend.
What's
going on? You got to know that Vicky was like, what's wrong with you?
Right, why are you acting like that?
Why can't you look at me?
I liked that Heather she had to disappear. She literally couldn't even be fake and be they were all talking about her and she had to disappear. So I kind of like that. But Heather brought up a good point that the doctor that Brooks was reporting to, works with her husband, plastic surgeon Dr. Terry Dubrow, and that he cures cellulite. Like, that's what they talked about.
There's a cure for this.
Or they're talking about cellulite cures, and supposedly this is Brooks's doctor. So Heather's like not on board either. Like, and I was surprised to see Heather take sides, but it seems like Heather's not buying what Brooks and Vicky are selling either.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this episode, it really came to a head where everybody is now questioning it really kind of, strongly. Even Shannon. Shannon's really been supporting Vicky and really, supporting Brooks and everything in this, and getting really mad at the other women for spreading, whatever rumors she thinks they might have been spreading. But even in tonight's episode, she's like, I don't know, the truth will come out.
Yeah.
It's really coming to a head.
Now, Tamra is feeling like she's stuck in the middle with this, and she doesn't really want to say anything against, Brooks and all that. She's trying to stay out of it. Up to this point, before everyone was confronted, do you think Tamra's been doing a good job at trying to, stay, peacemaker or in the middle at least?
Well, she didn't add her own thing when they were talking kind of in that circle. Everyone had something to say. Heather had something to say about the doctor. Shannon's got the two flat tires. They all have like something. And Tamra didn't really have like anything to offer. I think she was genuinely trying to stay out of it. It seemed like it.
I think she's doing a pretty good job.
I think so too. Even this whole season, she seems really like careful as to what it is exactly she's putting out there for people to understand. And I feel like she's really even been really diligent in making sure people know exactly what it is she's saying, or following up on exactly what she heard. Like, she's being very particular with everything, which is nice, because before it would just be like, rah, to anybody, anything to anybody. So I think she really is putting some care and some thoughts into her actions this season.
Well, while Tamra's being conscious of her actions and calm, cool, and collected to this party, then Meghan's quick to rile her up and tell her, look, Brooks said that you need to consider the source of this information. So someone flipped the button, and Tamra then decided that she went right for Brooks and had to confront him. And I don't blame her. If someone does that to me too, I'm like, look, you know what? I gotta deal with this right now. So she chased him around this pool. It was just kind of funny to see these women play cat and mouse all night around the pool with this dragon in the middle. But yes. Anywho, she went right up to Brooks and was like, "Look, what do you mean by that? Consider the source." You could tell it was like a jump cut. Like it made it look like she just went right up to him and grabbed him by the shoulder and said, "Consider the source." What the f does that mean?
Right.
But we were in it. We were good. And Vicky kind of just was like, watching, but she didn't know what to do. Really, right? Am I
she
getting
was like,
it?
I said it.
Yeah, she was.
You're making a fool of yourself.
Yeah. So, what do we think of this moment? I personally loved seeing Tamra be the old Tamra and just call him out.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I do agree that when you've been supporting someone or been like positive and helpful to someone's cause, and then you find out they say something hurtful about you, I totally understand that immediate gut reaction of being like, really? You're going to say that about me? But I also have a really tough time understanding like this whole scenario of, sort of the line between being honest and calling it out and saying something like it is versus like running to someone and being catty and like telling them something that maybe they don't need to know. Not necessarily this scenario, but I feel like this whole season we've dealt with it, especially from Tamra, where she's kind of trying to say like, I'm only going to report what I've heard, and maybe some of the other ladies do too, but it's like half of it seems like it's just tattling or something, especially Meghan too.
Oh, completely.
That's classic Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yeah.
It's all like
she
that.
just like runs to the person and is like, oh, well, so-and-so said this about you. And on one hand, it's like, okay, well, maybe they sort of did. Like, you're kind of just reporting the truth. But then on the other hand, like, do they really need to know? Like, is it gonna make that big of a difference?
It was not necessary.
Yeah.
And I could kind of understand Tamara's point of view, because she's probably thinking, you should have been in the circle of women who were just talking about you, and I said nothing.
Right.
And then it comes back to me that I'm getting
that's what
talked
she was
badly about.
That's what she was pissed. I don't blame her. Yeah. So I'm trying to follow the bouncing ball here. Okay, so at this Ducks game,
I had to map it out.
Okay. Oh, please. Oh, you perfect. I'm trying to do this in my head.
So, Jim told Brooks about the marriage, 2 months challenging. Brooks told Vicky. Vicky told Tamra. Tamra told Meghan.
Fern totally has like a flow chart explaining
why
who
I love
told
this
who.
girl. She's so prepared. Like, I was trying to do this in my head, and I don't even have to think. This is fantastic. Well, look at that.
It's like
that's
so
a
complete.
mess.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a mess.
so that's the flow chart. I'll put it on Twitter. So everyone
check it out.
I'm just glad that Shannon's not roped into that. I feel like she would be easily involved
would
at some point.
breakdown.
I'm glad that she steered clear of that marriage comment. At least you got away with that one.
Yeah, that's a mess. And I can only imagine the amount of telephone that was played throughout that transfer. Like, what truly was the beginning information that developed into the ending information we hear now.
Right.
God knows.
So consider the source. That was the comment of the evening that really kind of made things go haywire.
Very haywire.
I liked it. I thought it was kind of classic OC with like, who said what and all that. And that's very interesting, that little flow chart there.
It's very complete.
So before we wrap things up, I want to say Meghan is going on and on about this, of course. She has a very strong opinion, and even with the conversation she had with Brooks and Vicky and with her husband there. And then she basically just says straight out, well, he doesn't have cancer, and I'm going to do all the research that I can because I'm a researcher. And that was kind of the first time you mentioned that watching it.
Yeah, that is the first time she's outright said he doesn't have cancer. Not even that I don't think or the psychic said or whatever. No, like she straight up laid it out. She believes that Brooks does not have cancer.
Yep, she said it point blank and the period.
Point blank. Yes.
And this psychic is so stuck in the middle. This guy, he must be like hiding his head in his hands.
Every day he probably dreads he even said such a thing.
I follow him on Twitter. He hasn't tweeted a thing. He hasn't tweeted a thing.
Well, like, he was kind of just doing his job. I mean, it's what he saw.
He just said it was wishy-washy, so it's like... Unfortunately, the words that he used can be interpreted in many different ways.
Clearly.
Yeah. He probably thought he was going on the show to, get more customers and expand his presence, and then he's just
little did he know he was providing the storyline of the season.
I know it all comes back to that one moment. And like even Brooks, I'll give it to him. He's like, your sources are a psychic and a blog. Like, I kind of like see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Like, it does kind of really delegitimize Meghan and all of her research and everything that she's trying to do. And Meghan's just like a dog with a bone. I want to say that she's like trying to do it for the better of him, to better him, but I don't know at this point. I think it's more for her to prove a point.
Yeah, completely. Right. Well, that's the thing that she's been saying, is that it's for him, and it's, she cares about him so much. No, not when it's vindictive like this. If you care about somebody and they say, hey, quit nosing around in my business, you leave it alone, and that's because you care about them. So, yeah, at this point...
If she really cared, she would have said something off camera once, and they would have been like, mind your own business, and it would have been forgotten. But she wants a storyline. She could say that she's doing it because she cares. She could say because she wants people to be proactive about their health. She has nothing to do, and it's interesting to catch it that this guy who nobody really likes in a lie.
Yeah. Which really makes me wonder, though, like, what is the motive? Like, Brooks really was trying to ask her, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this? And she kind of danced around it or explained whatever she explained. But I would really like to know, what is the reason that you're gunning so hard for Brooks? Because, it's not like her and Vicky are particularly best friends or had been at any point, that she's trying to like protect her or, like the whole thing. I'm trying to figure out any sort of scenario.
What did Brooks ever do to her? You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. What's the personal, but her defense would be, I'm just trying to, save a man who has cancer. I'm just trying to spread awareness. I have cancer in my family that, so that,
Jim gave her a good defense. He's like, she never thought it would lead to this. She thought all her research would lead to something good.
Jim has actually done a very good job defending her, I must say, because he seems like the kind of guy who really doesn't want to have any part in it. Right. And he said to her last episode, don't put me in this position ever again. But every time she gets herself into this scenario, he's very good at like diffusing the situation, and he'll explain to the other person, well, she thought this or that, but it really didn't mean to go, and it's all good. And like, he tries to smooth it over. It's great.
Yeah, I like her dynamic, and I think she's great for the show. Like, she's a little crazy, but I mean, I like her on the show a lot. I mean, she provides a lot. If not, it would be like just everybody literally gossiping about Vicky and Brooks. Right, she's actually calling it out to their face and doing research late at night.
Doing some research for whatever that's worth.
So, yeah, I know, right? For whatever it's worth.
For whoever this is benefiting that she's doing all this research for.
Well, let's. I understand, Blake, you've done a little research of your own with some news and gossip.
A tiny bit of news and gossip.
TV news.
Yes. So apparently, This woman named Jacqueline Dixon reached out in regards to Brooks and Vicky's sort of situation and the whole cancer scenario. She basically reached out and said that she completely agrees with their decision for Brooks to quit chemo, and she basically sort of lent kind of a caring opinion, and Vicky and Brooks then retweeted, reshared, wanted to expose this information to everyone, saying like, yes, we do have people that are on our side. We do have people understanding this sort of scenario, because Brooks has always said that chemo hasn't worked for him. It hasn't worked for his family. So he's really trying to find these alternative methods. And here was an outsider saying like, yes, I agree with you. And they appreciated that. So that was kind of making the rounds today, that Vicky had tweeted that this woman, Jacqueline, was in support of her and in support of Brooks and what their health decisions were. Another tiny bit of gossip, which sort of, we've talked about this, and it's something that we've wanted to know, but it sort of makes me sad to say. Nothing definitive, but this again is on another blog. This is coming from The Real Mr. Housewife. He has a blog of his own. Anyways, just a little detail about David and Shannon. We're learning a little bit more information that's coming out about David's mistress. Nothing has really been announced as to who she is or anything like that. But I guess there are sources that do know who she is, and she has apparently left all social media. Apparently she had a Facebook and an Instagram, I believe. And at this point in the season and in life and whatever, she has left all social media. So I think that slowly it's starting to come out who she is, and it's probably not pretty. And we may or may not have some more information coming up, but we'll certainly keep you posted. And that's what we got today.
I'm surprised she hasn't been uncovered
sooner.
Right.
This is like the cover-up of the century.
Right.
Like everyone's trying to know. And
I'm glad that she's disappearing, because that could be a real media circus. She could be like a media whore and want to like capitalize on this. And I also am glad because now Shannon doesn't have to face it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that's great.
know?
And that's the thing, is it's like in our hearts watching this show, reporting on all this, it's like we want to know the scoop, but it's so sad.
Right.
Like I don't
this is someone's life.
Exactly.
I mean,
so
yeah.
it's all fine.
Right, yeah. If they were getting a divorce though, and they were both like mutually like okay with getting divorced, I'd be a little bit more interested to know things. So I was like, it'd be like, okay, it's all said and done. But they're still a family.
They're still together. Yeah.
I'm just surprised it hasn't come out sooner, because usually no one can keep their mouth
Oh
shut.
no. Conceal an identity, forget it. Like
I know, well, one would think if someone, sleeping with a married man and being a mistress, they'd be, hiding and ashamed, but not in this world anymore.
When you're sleeping with
They
Ben
flaunt it.
Affleck.
Yeah. Not so much the case. So maybe this girl has some,
Morals.
Yeah, something.
hopefully.
Right, all right. Well, let's take a look forward and predict
Predictions.
what's coming up.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Someone bit this whole pen.
No.
I've been touching it.
And it wasn't you?
No.
Oh, goodness.
Hell no. When I'm biting a public pen. Anyway, let's
I
take a
am
look.
really excited. We saw that in next week's episode, we're going to take a peek on a lunch between Heather and Lisa Rinna.
I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
I
we could
love
pop
her.
chop. Yeah.
She's so good. I'm excited to see what that's about. Also, Heather, we got to see she's having some more issues with her home. Some more design decisions that are really troubling for her. I love all of that about the house. It's just
You love it, huh?
Well, it's just so grand and ridiculous. It's like I love it because I can't relate on any level. So I'm like, oh, it's like this fabulous mansion, and you have like a hair salon next to your closet that's the size of my house, and all of these things. And so I'm just like so just enthralled with it. And her struggle that's coming up with the etched design of the
tree.
the steel tree and the window, who knows? We'll see the details next week, but I'm just like, oh, the troubles you have, lady, in your life.
That's what Meghan
So
should be
fabulous.
doing.
Yeah.
Megan should be etching tree and designing a house. She needs another
really
hobby.
Yeah, she could use something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for the one-on-one scene that Vicky and Tamra are going to have, because I'm like a big believer in like when everything is all over the place and who's saying what, and if you're really a genuine friend of someone, you have to kind of sit down and cut through the crap and basically like deliver like a black and white kind of like, here's what people are saying. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do in this situation. I'm honestly putting everything on the table here, and that's kind of what we need, what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good moment. I think it's a smart move for Tamra. And, so Vicky says, like, call Brooks if you have any questions at this point. I'm done. And that will be interesting. I wonder what prompts that. I wonder if could Vicky be tired of keeping all of this ruse up, or is she just annoyed with people at this point? Why would she put that in Brooks's lap?
Yeah.
At this point, if she's like, I know she's done. Maybe she just can't keep it up anymore. But she's been protecting him all along.
So fiercely.
Yeah.
So
very interesting.
Yeah. Well. All that and more coming up. We'll have to see next week. Ladies, where can we find you online to keep the conversation going?
Yes. I have been Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media.
This is Fern Ronay. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fern Ronay, Ronay, and have a book coming out later this year, the story of a single 29-year-old Manhattan lawyer who is guided in her dreams by her dead Italian grandparents. So find me.
Is that the title?
Let's talk. No, that's the
I'm like, it's amazing.
So find me and let's talk on social media.
Yay!
And you can find me on Twitter at Grants__rants. You can also find me on my podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk. There's a few familiar voices you'll hear from AfterBuzz and more. A lot of good talk on there. So check us out there, and don't forget to check out AfterBuzz on all social media platforms. Our thanks to Alexis in the booth. That'll do it for the Real Housewives of Orange County.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.